What happens when the world takes everything from a good man? When 30 years of loyalty are just thrown away for a paycheck? Well, you're about to find out. This is the story of what happens when the man everyone spat on suddenly gets the power to burn their entire world to the ground. Before we dive in, if you enjoy stories like this, please follow the channel and share this video. It genuinely helps this page grow and allows me to create more stories for you.
So, for 3 decades, this guy, Jinsong, had a simple life. He worked a humble street stall selling skewers. And for those same 30 years, he was the absolute laughingstock of his wife's family. They didn't see him as a husband or a father, nah. To them, he was just a freeloader, a burden they had to put up with. And get this, every single cent he earned for 30 long years went straight into their pockets. He paid for their lifestyle, their comfort. And what did he get in return? Nothing but pure contempt. They called him a parasite, a guy just mooching off their good graces.
The cruelty hits its absolute peak when his wife, Ting Ting, gets an offer from her new, wealthy suitor. An offer that puts a literal price tag on their entire life together. The calculation was just cold. It was simple. On one side of the scale, you have 30 years of marriage. On the other, $7 million in investment money for her company. The only condition? Divorce Jinsong. For Ting Ting, the choice was easy.
And in her eyes, there was no sadness, no regret, just pure disgust. When Jinsong warned her she'd live to regret this, she just laughed in his face. She took the house, she took the car, and had her family throw him out on the street with literally nothing but the clothes on his back. His life's work, gone in a flash.
But as Jinsong is standing there at his food stall, his whole world in ruins, a sleek black car pulls up. A woman named Li Ying steps out, and she has news that's about to rewrite his entire existence. News about an uncle he barely even knew. She tells him that his uncle, who just happened to be the wealthiest man in the world, has passed away, and Jinsong is the sole heir. He inherits everything. So the question is, right, just how much is everything? $14 billion. Instantly, the poor street vendor became one of the richest men on the planet. I mean, you can't even really comprehend a number that big.
To prove it, Li Ying hands him this, the Supreme Black Card. It's a key that only a handful of people in the entire world possess. It's the first piece of his new identity and the first test of his new power.
So, with this card in his pocket, Jinsong decides to test the waters of his new reality. And his first stop? The bank where his ex-wife's family works, of course. The moment he walks in, they swarm him. They mock his clothes, they call him a beggar, and they tell him to leave. They see the same worthless man they've always seen, and they just can't wait to humiliate him one last time.
But just as they're about to call security, Li Ying, the queen of the business world, walks in. The staff fall all over themselves to greet her, only to watch in horror as she walks right past them, bows to Jinsong, and addresses him as Mr. Shao. In that one moment, their entire world just turned upside down.
Next, he goes to the headquarters of the Seihai Group, the massive corporation he now owns. And who does he find in the lobby? His ex-wife Ting Ting and her new partner, trying to land a business deal. They see him and immediately start mocking him, just assuming he's there to beg for a job as a janitor.
Jinsong doesn't even argue. He makes a single phone call and tells his staff to terminate their partnership. Now, 80% of her new partner's business came from the Seihai Group, so in a matter of seconds, he was totally bankrupt. As security dragged them out, they still couldn't understand what had just happened.
So the final confrontation comes 3 days later. The entire city's elite are gathered for a board meeting to meet the mysterious new owner of the Seihai Group. Ting Ting is there, convinced she's about to meet some business titan. She has no idea she's about to meet her ex-husband.
When Jinsong is called to the stage, the room just erupts into chaos. A corrupt manager, loyal to the old guard, stands up and denounces him as a fraud. He claims Jinsong is a con man and calls for the police to arrest him. And Ting Ting, totally mortified, is begging Jinsong to confess, just to spare their son the shame.
But then, Li Ying calmly steps forward. First, she presents the chairman's thumb ring, an exclusive symbol of power. The accusers call it a fake. Then, she presents an official DNA report proving Jinsong is the old chairman's nephew. They claim it's forged. So finally, she reads the old chairman's last will and testament, legally naming Jinsong as the new chairman. Checkmate. The whispers stop. The room goes silent. In that moment, every single powerful person in the city, including his ex-wife, finally understands. The man they all called worthless was now the one person they absolutely could not afford to cross. Ting Ting's face goes pale, her entire reality just shattering in an instant.
She runs to him, crying, apologizing. She insists she still loves him, that she made a terrible mistake. She begs him to think of their son, to take her back, to return to the life she so eagerly threw away.
And this is where the story leaves us. Jinsong has absolute power. He can ruin her life as thoroughly as she ruined his, or he can show mercy to the woman who showed him none. It all comes down to one question. What is justice? And more importantly, what would you do? If this story moved you or made you think differently, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and follow the channel for more stories like this.